Hello, family. This is William S. Peters, Sr., a.k.a. Just Bill. I am an author of some 30 books plus and a publisher, and I am here with my brother, Jerry Royce, on Jerry-Royce-Live, and I'm happy and blessed to be here. Thank you. I want my poetry to touch your soul. I want my poetry to fill that hole in your heart. I want my poetry to move you to action, just like Mr. Jackson. I want my poetry to make you stand up and be counted. Yes. I want my poetry to make you rip the flesh of your delusions from your false realities, bias, and prejudice, that you may perhaps get a glimpse of your higher self. I want my poetry to be that key that unlocks the change of your enslaved thoughts. I do hope that you can read, hear, and listen. I want my poetry to make your soul scream so loud that it expands and explodes, and the noise of its voice pollutes the world with truth. I want my poetry to hold the hands of your dreams upon its breast, and for you to feel the heartbeat of joys not yet spoken that is labeled with your name. I want my poetry to kiss your aspirations with smiles and happy butterflies, that I may watch you simply dance because you can. I want my poetry to open the floodgates of your reason, that your limited perspectives of difference and deference down in the cascade of waters of unity. I want my poetry to till the soils of your spiritual garden with possibilities and plant ever-abundant new seeds of exponentialness, so that all previous preconceived boundaries and limitedness will dissipate into the eternal ether of nothingness, and you learn to laugh at yourself again. I want my poetry to compel you, assist you in the removal of your mask, to compel you to rip off your clothes, to compel you to dance in the streets naked just like David, that you can see you who you truly are, and be affirmed that you are fine and you are divine. I want my poetry to teach you and me the divine art form and purpose of spiritual masturbation, that we may learn to no longer condemn the holy, which resides within each of us, and that we learn to forgive ourselves. I want my poetry to eradicate our reluctance to love each other, to lose the inhibitions we have been taught, indoctrinated to embrace as the right way, and learn a new way this day of how to love. I want my poetry to be loving, kind, to be enduring, accepting, non-judgmental, uplifting, enlightening, embracing, empowering. I want my poetry to reflect the beauty of creation. I want my poetry to reflect the best of who I may be. I want my poetry to be poetry and help you become a poem. And peace.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by. I'm your host, Jerry Royce, and welcome to Positive Power 21 Network, where you get your positive on. This is a worldwide podcast for growth, wealth, and success. Thank you.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and welcome to Positive Power 21.org. I am the voice of jerry-royce-live, and when it's all positive, it's all power. That's Positive Power. And today's sponsors are Taking It Back, written by Zenobia Sampson. That's right, she had a tremendous turnout in Baltimore. Baltimore Facebook came out strong. Her family and friends came out strong and gave her awesome support for the first showing of Taking It Back. And that's produced and directed by Queen Z Production. Look for a DVD coming soon and a second showing in Baltimore. Way to go, Zenobia. Go, Zenobia Sampson. That's right. Also, Right for Power. Uncover, heal, and confidently step into your victorious life. Do you have a story, but you don't know how to get it out? Are you a woman who wants more out of life, longing to express her authentic voice, or wanting to make your mark on the world? Are the stories about your past stopping you from living the life you really, really want? If you can answer yes to any of the above, join Lane Cobb on a 6-week transformational journey to Right for Power, reclaim your victorious life. That's right. Gain victory over your past, create a deeper awareness of who you are, what you want, and how to get it. Discover your unique purpose and ignite your inner passion. Turn trials into triumphs and pain into power. Deepen your divine connection to access enlightenment and grace. Again, call Lane Cobb at 443-756-8391. Visit her website at www.lanecobb.com. Have you ever received good advice that you were unable to follow? Have your doctor ever recommended a lifestyle change that you found to be unsustainable? Have you ever wanted something in your life but found you couldn't achieve it alone? Contact purpleroseholistic.health.com for a free initial consultation. They will personalize a program that will radically improve your health and happiness. And Valerie is a big-time juicer, so check her out for some help, okay? And again, she's at purpleroseholistic.health.com. All right. And have natural hair. That's right. We got a natural hair resource guide. Attorney, author, and natural hair enthusiast Pamela Samuels shares the natural hair care practices and products online resources that took her from disaster to natural hair heaven. Purchase her book on her official website at www.pamelasamuels-young.com. And I want to thank all my guests that we had during the week. We had an exciting time, and today is Thursday. Of course, it's the end of the week for Positive Power for this week, which is pretty much the end of July. It was a pretty fast month. So we just want to thank all the guests we had, and tonight we have a guy that's the closer. We're going to call him the closer of the week, and I'm going to read his bio, okay? The bio of William S. Peters Sr., a.k.a. Just Bill. Bill, a.k.a. William S. Peters Sr., is the proud single father of 11 children and 7 grandchildren. Wow, I almost couldn't get 11 out. Wow. Bill has been writing for over 45 years, expressing his thoughts on matters of the heart, spirit, consciousness, and humanity. His primary focus is love, peace, and understanding. Due to his own personal circumstances, the life's travel, he has presented himself, such as the crossing over of his beloved wife, I believe it's Virisa, on July 2nd, 2006. He says he found himself deeply immersed in an abysmal, I guess that's the right word, place filled with comforting. Ooh, man, he got some words for me. Voices of love, light, and darkness, despair, and understanding. These voices transmuted to feelings and thus to insights, thus to the expressive words you will find all over the internet. Bill is not only a writer and a poet, he's also a public speaker, empowerment workshop leader, consultant, activist, radio personality, broadcast media producer, spoken word, recording artist, and so much, much more. Wow, good for him. He's also a director of Inner Child Enterprise, as well as the director of publicity for Society Hill Music. Bill has published over 16 books. His latest offering, a poetic collection, This Too Shall Pass, The Light in the Window, The Wind, The Mountain and the Sage, and incidentally, he available for purchase at his website, Bill's Store. He's mentioned earlier, Bill's also a spoken word artist. His current CD, Free Think, is available through his site, as well as a CD, Baby Reverb Nation, Amazon, and iTunes. All right, and he's also the founder of Inner Child Groups and Enterprises, has created access to outlets to help spread the goodness through poetry, writing, creating, and any of all forms available. His publicist, Adele Banks Wilson of Adele Connection, as well as many of other souls, have nothing to say but good things about Bill and his wonderful, empowering spiritual work. Bill is truly a blessing to anyone that is so graced to know him. Bill, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, sir?
And I'm blessed. I'm doing fine, man. I'm glad to be here. And apparently I sent you the wrong bio, but, that's okay. We'll make it through,
Yeah, so it was a little dated, you were saying?
Yeah, a little dated. Yeah, that was a couple of years old, 16 books. I've since went on, and Adele is retired now. But, most certainly I'm still grateful for, where I've been, where I came from, and who helped me get there. So it never hurts to shout out people's names.
That's right, man. So you got a new release out now, and your book that you're working on now is called Stories and Fables and Quaint Little Tales,
Quaint
right?
Little Tales. Mm-hmm. That'll be dropping September 1st.
All right around the corner. So that's being released by your publishing baby, Inner Child Press. So that's a popular name out there. I've been seeing that name floating all over Facebook, so everybody knows about that press. All right, man. So look, I know we didn't read all your accomplishments, It's your platform, so we want to know a little bit more about you. How did Bill first get started before all of these enterprises came about? Who were you before all of this happened? Who were you?
Well, I was a father, as I said, and a quite busy father at that, with a number of children through 2 marriages. But prior to all of that, when I was a kid, I was very precocious and always had a smart mouth and thought, and I was filled with wonder, and that wound up with a whole bunch of backhands across my lips. So that's one of the reasons that motivated me to start writing, because I had a smart mouth, and my mother didn't, and my father didn't take that. Actually my mother, but anyway, so I started writing because the paper didn't talk back. So I actually committed myself in 1966 that this was the path I wanted to travel. My first book was published in 1972. And then just like, most writers, I went through a dry spell, of collecting rejection slips and things of that nature, and then, I kind of rededicated myself in 2006 when my wife passed, Virisa. She passed in 2006 from cancer, and, since then it's been on, it's been on, so that's pretty much
busy.
it. Yeah, we stay busy. That we do. But before I go any further, I'd like to shout out, I know she's on the phone, Janet Caldwell. She's the partner in Inner Child, also my life partner, and I'd just like to shout her out because, most of the stuff that we have accomplished since she's come on board in 2008, 2009, it has been, it's just been a phenomenal ride since she's been aboard and, bought into the Inner Child dream. Or brought into my dream, I guess we would call it. But, I just want to shout her out and tell her how grateful I am for her and her presence in my life.
That's right. Good for her. Yeah, she's very thorough, too, man. She sent me everything I needed right before the show. Normally, that's how I work. I normally absorb the person, the few minutes I have left before our broadcast. But like I was telling you, I've been running around the last couple of days with football and dance school coming to an end for dance school, and now it's football season for the youth. So I'm so grateful she was able to send those things over, and I didn't have to try to hunt you down on the internet, because you're a little difficult to find under William S. Peters. I guess because I didn't have senior on there and I didn't know your stage name. So it was a little hard to find information on.
Well, you won't find me through the stage name or just on Google, you would. But on I just keep it, strictly professional on Facebook. With William S. Peters Sr., and I have the regular page plus the fan page. Plus we have, actually altogether we have 12 different presences on Facebook. So Inner Child's all over the place in different looks, the programs that we have.
Good. All right, man. So you're a poet. So how did you first get started in, I call it show business or the publishing? How did you first get started? What initiated that? Where did the push button start?
Well, the publishing started as a result of need. In 2006, like I said, it was on, because I said, look, this is an opportunity for me to, not chase my dream, but be my dream, and which was, to keep on publishing, keep on writing. And so I wound up, not only my writing, but helping other people publish their book. And I was out in Utah for almost a year in 2011. And necessity was the mother of invention, so I had just kind of started the publishing company from scratch. And, and in less than 3 years, we've grown to like about 130, 140 authors, So we're experiencing a growth spurt, and have been since we started, and we're just trying to do the best we can. So that was the onset of publishing. Plus, Jerry, I write a lot. In the year 2009 to 2010, I published 9 books myself. And right now I'm up to about 30 books. This will be my 30th book in September. And that's not to mention the dozens of anthologies and, all the other stuff that we're doing, and magazine articles. And I just love writing. That's all I can say about it.
Because right before the show, I think Jan said you guys were working on a magazine. Is that magazine online or is it a hardback, hardcover?
It's online. It's innerchildmagazine.com.
And
so we have magazine, newspaper, and radio as well.
Oh, good for you guys. So what would you find in that magazine?
Basically, the credo of Inner Child is the 3 E's: enlightening, embracing, and empowering. the divine inner child, while celebrating the divine inner child, because that's kind of a proponent that we all have socially, is that there's something in us that wants to speak out. So that's the basis of what we do. We first started off with the social media group, which was innerchild.ning.com, which we still have. That was in 2007 we started that. And like I said, in 2010 we went into radio. 2011 we went into the publishing business. And in 2012, we just, as a matter of fact, this is our 30th month, and time flies, with the magazine. And we had the newspaper, which is an online newspaper as well. But, basically, Jerry, we feel that everybody has something to say. So we just want to provide a venue for people to say what they need to say, whether it's publishing, radio, or what have you. And we're trying our best to listen and keep our ears to the ground and listen to what people have to say, because you never know who's going to say something to you that may alter your life.
That's right. That is so true. Now you have 100 authors. Are you taking on any more? Someone listening right now, they gifted. They like what you bring, because I'm looking at your page. You're like a real sharp guy. You look serious, man. That's the way I want to look, man. When I get 40, I want to look just like you, man. So how would they get with this cool guy? How would they do? How would they do?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can drop me a line at our innerchildpress@gmail.com is our email, or you can go right to our website, innerchildpress.com, and we have, a get in touch, page, contact us page, so you can drop a note there. We're accessible. We ain't hiding from nobody. We are not hiding from anybody.
You're right. That's right. You're not hiding. You're out there. Now, how would now you wouldn't accept anybody. What are you looking for, to add to your family?
Well, let me put it this way. We are what we call subsidy publishers. However, we do give scholarship away, meaning that, we will publish people at our costs. Okay, certain people. Especially if we like their writing. So I'm not going to say it's an open door policy, but it's an open door policy, if you know what I mean. We will consider anybody. Like last year, as a result of some campaigns we had and campaigns that Janet managed, we wound up getting $18,000 worth of scholarship away. We're looking to empower the people. There's a lot of people with some consciousness out there, and personally, I'm a spiritual, social, and love consciousness writer. So my writing has to have meaning for me, and that tends to be. And Janet's the same way. She's also a wonderful, wonderful author with 3 books out, and that's pretty much what we look for is people that have something to say. It's not that we turn our noses up at the nonsense poetry, but we think we're in dire times, so to speak, that people need power. People need to realize their power, and exercise it and work on it. And so anybody that's writing about those particular things, we embrace, That doesn't mean that, all writing is perfect or good or whatever, because, we are a literary company. So consequently, we are looking for good writing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that is great. So that'll be innerchildpress.com, that they can hit you up, your contact page, and submit something. If you like it, you reply right back to them and say, hey. Now, would you bring them into the office or blog or you just handle everything online?
Well, pretty much we're an e-business, Jerry. I can bring people in the office. We're in Jersey, but we're not paying for anybody to fly here. So we're pretty much, an e-business. So everything's done, in the virtual world, with emails and websites and things of that nature. Telephone calls.
That's true. Right. So you're virtual business. So how we know that's really you on that cover? I Am Just Bill. How we know that's not your brother?
Well, you can Skype me. I'll get right on Skype with you.
Yeah, that's right, man. So you do webcasting. Now, would you interview a person through Skype if they had that connection?
Well, I don't interview people through Skype. We're on Blog Talk and also Talk Show. But we're on our summer schedule right now. We're not going to start back up till September. And on Mondays and Wednesdays we do interviews, and on Fridays we have an open mic set. And then we were doing for a couple of years the hour power set early in the morning to start people's days off right, that type of thing. At one time we were doing 14 shows a week, but that got a little crazy, as you know. We just kind of backed off, and like I said, we're on the summer schedule now, so we just pretty much shut it down for the summer. Because it was taxing, and we needed to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Now that's through Inner Child Radio.
Blog Talk Radio, Inner Child Radio.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you use Blog Talk.
Right. And on TalkShoe, we're Inner Child Radio as well.
Okay. So what is that? What platform is that? Is that
Blog
podcast
Talk?
also?
Talk, yeah. It can be it is podcast on like iTunes and those type of things, but it's an internet radio where basically similar to this, where people call in. Okay, just that it's not a private platform such as you have on a conference call. It's a platform that was established by Blog Talk Radio, and you can have multiple callers and play music and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that much different from yours. Just that the platforms are different. Different look. That's all.
Now, how long do your show last? Now, do you have your show like the same time every day? Because you mentioned you had like 12 shows a week.
Well, no, we're down. Right now, we're down to 3 and possibly, actually 4 and possibly 5. On Mondays, we do conversations, which is bringing people in for empowerment. That's from 7 until 9. It's a 2-hour show. On Tuesdays, we have Heaven Speak Radio, which is our resident astrologer, spiritualist, Loving LaFay. And she's on from 9 till 11, 9 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, p.m. On Wednesdays, we have the Hump Day Show, which is 7 until 9, where we interview artists, okay? And sometimes we do a little open mic, but basically it's an artist interview. And on Fridays, it's open mic with Jamie Bond and Miss Fab. And it's an open mic venue where anybody can call in and share their work.
All right, and that's on. They run in the evenings, those programs?
Yeah, all of them are 7 until 9, with the exception of the Tuesday show, which is 9 until 10, 7 until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Good. So some artistic shows out there. Because, when you're out there looking around for poetry groups and clubs, it's hard to find. I'm like, where are the real quality ones? I know back in the day when they had Yahoo groups, man, they had some real good poets. Where is everybody right now? Are they just inside the clubs now, or they don't entertain the internet anymore?
Spoken word and poetry has blown up in the last few years. I mean, there's been a proliferation of people coming out, starting their own shows. So there's an abundance of venues out there. I mean, you go to, I go to New York often to perform, and do workshops. And, there's 1,000,001 shows. 1,000,001 venues, 1,000,001 clubs that you can go in and share your work. There's no shortage of clubs. And just about any major city that you go into these days, there's a lot of venues. I'm also affiliated with Poet Organization, which is People of Extraordinary Talent. And periodically I go up to Chicago and share with them, and they share with me. And, we do that thing. Done California, done Virginia, done New York, and Massachusetts. So we get around a little bit, but there's a lot of shows out there. And that's the easiest way to do is to go right to Blog Talk Radio and go into the poetry section, and you'll find a ton of shows. Just about every night of the week. Yeah. All
right. So they're not just So they offline inside the clubs, but online is more like they're actively being vocal. So it's no just sitting in Facebook sharing written words anymore. Okay. Because I have found about 5.
Yeah. And there's quite a few different communities that are, have their thing going on. And, we're a part of them. We don't necessarily have the time to spend, at all the shows. As a matter of fact, I get to the point where I get tired of it, to be honest with you, because, you can get, saturated with doing the same thing over and over and over again, night in, night out. I've done that for quite a number of years, so it gets to be taxing, if you would.
Yeah. Well, myself, I enjoy listening to it. I just haven't found any venues in Maryland. I know there are quite a few of them in Washington, but that's a little hard for me, about 45-minute drive, to go on a Thursday or Friday night. be pretty tiresome.
Right.
But to find a nice spot on a Saturday where my wife and I could just hang out and, get a drink or two, enjoy some open mic, and then roll out. I said, sure, I could do that at home. We could get a bottle of wine and just sit around and, put the smartphone on the stereo and, listen to some people, do their thing.
Right.
I guess what I do, I'll do what you say. I'll take your advice and go out there and look out Blog Talk and see what's going on.
Now, another thing you do, which is easy that, you don't have to go looking for it all the time because it's always at the website, is you can go to Reverb Nation. Okay, and on Reverb Nation, there's a ton of spoken word artists, and it's like having a catalog, of different artists with their work that you can sit and listen to, pretty much for free,
Good.
And iTunes has a venue by which you can download or listen to stuff for free, but Reverb Nation is the most popular one these days.
All right, good. I'm glad you told me about that. And I think we did read that in your bio also, that you were part of that. All right, thank you very much. So we have had some authors that happen to have been poets, and they had an opportunity to read their poems, and we're looking forward to hearing you also. We hope.
I love reading poetry, man.
Yeah, we hope the internet can handle the push coming through. Now, you have written something on your website. I am just Bill. Say, I am art. I am creative. I breathe. I live. I love. I am. I be. Now, I noticed your authors. Are they the new authors? I think it was something on their book. They titled it. Everybody's book was self-titled. I am a new author. I think it was. Was that what it was? I was reading.
Not everybody's book. I mean, because we have a lot of seasoned authors like Janet and Martina Newberry, and there's quite a few authors that have been published before. But we do find that ourselves, which I love, is giving new authors an opportunity to be published. Okay, and I think that's important because it's very validating and confirming, that what you have to say is important. And there's nothing, Jerry, I tell you, I remember my first book, there's nothing like receiving your book with your name on the cover and say, did that.
That's right.
I did that.
So what was that I read on that book? I thought I read something. This is my first book, my first poetry.
That was part of the campaign Janet ran last year, my first poetry book. So we had an essay contest where unpublished authors could write an essay on why they thought their books could be published. And then we awarded scholarship, and we just scholarshiped all of them, some 30-some authors, and published them for free. But it's called the My First Poetry Book series. So we publish authors from, Africa, Australia, India, Saudi Arabia, Kosovo, all over the world,
Yeah, man. Those people look so happy in those photo ops. I know that was a good. How did you feel after putting on an event like that? What's the feeling like?
Man, I still feel like $1 million. I think probably, from a soulful or spiritual perspective, anytime you have the opportunity to touch somebody's life and be a part of their journey and say, hey, I was a part of it, that's always rewarding. I don't care how many times I look back at 2013 and say, this is what we did. Not that I want to live on those laurels because we're still trying to do other things. However, the point of the matter is that, people are always grateful. Hey, I published my first book with Inner Child Press, and we're just as grateful that they honored us and trusted us with giving us their children to publish, because your work is like your child.
That is powerful. Now, you have a host of videos on your site. I didn't click on it, but can we find you on YouTube on stage performing?
You won't find me on stage that much because I'm not big on performing. I do when I'm called and if it's the right venue, and when I have an opportunity to intimately share. I'm not big on the open mics where you got 3 minutes, you go up. I've done quite a few of them, but I don't go out seeking them. If it's an invite or if I'm visiting a friend and we go do an open mic, that's one thing. But I don't necessarily seek them out. I love, from the old days what they call poetry readings because you have an opportunity to be more intimate with the audience. And you're not under a time restraint of 3 minutes, 6 minutes, or whatever the case may be. So that's me. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I noticed some of the young people out there expressing themselves on YouTube, and they're doing some really good work with the video editing, really professional movie type. Look like it's filmed. I think it's fantastic. They out there expressing stuff, and then they have the people out there looking at it. It's different when I was growing up. If you were a poet, you pretty much was reading them to yourself and listening to them yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Parents probably.
True.
Now it's like you can get millions of people tuning into you. And I think that's the internet is so powerful. Now, that's going to move me into talking a little bit about the business side of it. Now we had a little time to chat about the big beast, the Amazon.com, that big monster out there that's doing everything with everything. Now tell us your relationship with Amazon and why you chose to move forward on your own.
Well, let me put it this way: Amazon is almost I say almost tentatively, is almost a necessary evil. The book industry is reflective of what went on for years with the music industry. And it wasn't until Michael Jackson sat down and negotiated a different take, on the music industry that it liberated all these people such as Jay-Z and, all these people were actually benefiting from, the work that Michael Jackson did in renegotiating his contract, which he had the power to do so because he was powerful. But in essence, in any particular mainstream business, you always have a middleman. Okay, that's what Amazon is. Amazon is a middleman. And I asked the question of myself, I said, why should I empower Amazon when I can empower myself? I'll give you a classic example. I remember a few years ago, I sold a book on Amazon. It was $15 for the book, and my royalty on that book was $1.38. $1.38. And from a $15 retail. And, so that caused me to kind of look at it. Then they wanted to charge me $8 to cut a check for $1.30. I'm like, you know what, y'all can keep it. But the point that I'm making is very simply this. We had built Amazon because when you talk to authors, the first thing they say is you can find me on Amazon. And that alone gives Amazon 40% of your gross, right off the top. You still got to pay for the printer to print the book. So by the time you get down to the distribution is minimized because of I'm going to use the word, our not knowing. The word for that is ignorance. Our not knowing that there are alternative ways to market our products. Number one, you can get a blog site, a blog or a WordPress, and you can put you can get a PayPal account and you can put your product in there. And start advertising that. You can get a website. There's websites that are available for free from Wix, Weebly, and Yola, and many other things. So there's so many things that we do if we're motivated, and if you don't know how, ask somebody, do some research, Google, or whatever. But, I think that we authors have to take more responsibility for our destiny, our destination. And we haven't, by and large, and I'm saying this from a published perspective, the publishing business is reflective of society. We're lazy. We want someone else to do it for us. We're looking for the handout. And I'm not trying to be hard, but I'm being honest, brutally honest about it. And, the publishing business or the music business or any other business is no different than that. There's a lot of people like to go punch the clock, sit around and collect a paycheck when they're at the party. But, you got to get your work in this business if you want the rewards. Other than that, just keep on saying you can find me on Amazon,
That's right. Now, especially for those that's selling their ebooks. Now, there are some people out there that's doing very well, but like you said, they're taking a great deal of the profit. So that means you're pushing volumes now, and that's what they're doing. They're pushing a lot of volume. The ebooks are selling for 99 cents to $2.99, maybe $3.99. I don't mind spending $3.99 for a book. If I thought it was written well and it's going to entertain me. Now, what's your opinions on the ebooks? That's a new phenomenon that's going on right now.
Well, the ebook industry only represents about 18% of the publishing industry, quiet as it's kept. And see, but the online industry has an agenda to build this particular industry. Right now, the majority of books are still print books, and for a long period of time, they will be, because there's some people that will not part with touching. You cannot touch or sign an ebook. There's nothing personable about it. I like the personal touch of sitting there and handing the book to a person doing a book signing. I'm old school, you call it that, but there's a lot of authors I know that are new school that are doing and feeling the same way. I'm not against the ebook industry. I think it's one of those necessary evils. You should be in all markets you possibly can be in. But by the same token, when I say be in all markets, that means you should be in the ebook market as well as the print market.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, with the ebook industry, there's so many other venues. Like the first thing we'll say is Kindle. But, there's so many other venues. There's over 10,000 venues around the world that do ebooks,
10,000.
But you would never know that because all we hear is Kindle.
That's right. Yep, Kindle, right, because the device. And now I don't own a Kindle, but I have like a 6-inch Samsung tablet that I read off of, and then I have my iPhone if I want to catch up on something, the real quick reads. Like I love reading the business magazines, and they quick reads, and the self-helps are pretty good. It's real convenient for me, waiting for the kids. I don't have to say, wow, where did I leave that book? I can just pull my phone out.
Yeah.
So, so this is convenient for people who ride the subway.
Oh, yeah.
They don't feel like carrying everything they own. They can go that route. So it is
it does have its merits. I don't knock the merits because I can go, if I'm traveling, for example, on my device, whether it's my pad, my laptop, or my phone, I can hold, 50, 100 books. I can read what I want at my leisure, bookmark it, and leave it where it's at and pick it up the next time. So I'm not lugging. And I tell you, I traveled carrying books around. Okay, and that's no fun. They're heavy.
No fun. That's right, a suitcase full of books. Now, another thing too. Now you have a lot of strong genres out there right now. Of course, pretty much most of the black authors that are really heavily involved with the urban street lit books, they have a strong following on social media because the fans can reach out to them and inbox them and communicate with them. And what's happening after they finish reading their paperback book, the fans are like, "Where's the next book?" So they're expecting the next book just to come out of thin air. So what's happening is I find that I'm seeing a lot of these authors are giving them what they call them flash books. Just a couple, maybe 20, maybe 40 pages of just giving them some kind of quenching their thirst. I don't know. What do you think about that movie?
I think it's a great thing. As I was alluding to earlier, I look at this planet. I said there's 7 billion people on this planet, over 7 billion people. Everybody truly has something to say about something. Out of 7 billion people, there's somebody that needs to hear what you have to say. So whether it's a flash book or a full book, it really doesn't make a difference. Sometimes I do a lot of what I call witticisms, on my page. And you'd be surprised how moving or how touching just that little one line or 2 lines can be, to somebody. This book I got coming out in September is a collection of short stories. A lot of them are 1 page, some are more 20 pages, or maybe not that long, maybe that's 15 pages. Most of them are somewhere in the area of 2 to 3 pages, and they're short stories, parable-type stories. And I've been working on it for 7 years, to get this book out, So I'm getting this book out, and I think that it's a worthy offering, because even if it was just 1 story, I've posted plenty of them over the years, and people have always found something redeeming for themselves in it. So I think that, as long as we're, striving for excellence and communicating clearly, and have good content, good subject matter, that there's somebody out there that really wants to read you,
That's right. That's right. Now, stories, fables, and quaint little tales.
Quaint little tales.
Tell us about that collection. What's going on with that publication?
Well, it's sort of like being in a dreamland. I'm creating stories, and I create stories of people in villages, and the conclusive thing in the stories is each story has a meaning, in reference to life, an application of consciousness or spirituality or common sense, or the what-if syndrome, like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And that's what I tried, but I hide it in an Aesop type of way, just like Aesop's fables, in the fact that once people read it and they come away, because with stories and fables, they're not quite as invasive as me preaching to you, so to speak, about what you should do. And I'm very, very mindful of that. So it can be very entertaining, and at the end, hopefully people will say, wow.
That's right. Now, who's this book for?
It's for adults, really. I mean, teenagers, adults, but primarily adults. I haven't really catered towards writing towards children, so to speak, even though we have published, children's books, but I don't necessarily write towards or slander towards children. But a young adult, teenagers, mature teenagers can understand it because it's not, there's no profanity or anything of that nature in the book. It's not that particular type of book. It's an adult reading material. But it's something that, it's a book geared at making you think, to consider what if. Wow, I never looked at it that way.
That's right, because I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, because I was looking at the cover. It's a beautiful cover. It's so vibrant looking that it did kind of remind me that a child will want to adventure themselves into opening the book to see what's in it.
Well, there's a child in each one of us. There's a child in each one of us.
It is. You're right. And I'm looking at it and I said, wow, I want to open this book up, and it's a good thing because this is a paperback book, correct?
Right. And it's 237 pages, so it's a very, very healthy offering. Okay. And it's going to retail. As a matter of fact, I'm running special starting tomorrow, but it's going to retail at $24.95. But we're going to be running a special starting tomorrow at $16.95 for introductory, with the official release being September the 1st.
All right, wonderful.
And big shout-outs to China Blue. I just want to shout-out China Blue at Edifying Graphics. That's my girl. She designs a lot of our covers, and she is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, because I want to ask you now, how many choices did you have, or this was just the first makeup and you went with it? Tell us a little bit about that.
No. I pretty much, with her, we have a really great working relationship. Pretty much with her, I'll give her a synopsis of how I'm feeling spiritually, because for me, everything comes from spirit. How I'm feeling spiritually about what I'm wanting to capture, whatever. And usually she's right on. I mean, we might have to tweak here and there, but usually she is right on. She's a tremendous, tremendous creative talent.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. It's incredible. This is an incredible looking cover. I love it. So that's why I want to, because I know sometimes, you sit down with the creative minds, you're sitting down and they showing you, the storyboard of ideas, and you're like, nothing's hitting. So this hit home. So when you saw this, you said, we're going with this. Absolutely.
Yeah, and when she gave it to me, I was sold. I didn't have to tweak a thing, or anything. And that's how, like I said, her and I have a working relationship and understanding, and I trust in her creativity, because she won't jump and do something, like an employee would. Like, say, if you're working, I've worked with graphic artists before in my corporate career, and what happens is that, when you work with graphic artists, you give them a challenge, and they immediately start working, and that's why they do many storyboards do the alternative. But with her, she'll let it marinate a little bit, and when she finally gets it, boom, there we go.
I know, beautiful, man. I like the fact she got that little bunny rabbit on front. My kids actually have a little bunny rabbit, and I didn't realize them little things have such a personality. She is good. Yeah, it's amazing animals. I just love this cover.
Right. And again, I want to shout out Janet Caldwell. Because I went through, someone compiled the book for me. We went through one editor, but we just were not necessarily pleased with the level of editing that was done. And her and I, we just actually completed it last week on the phone every night, and she is, I just trust her with my work, let me put it that way. As she trusts me with hers, but I trust her, and I just want to shout her out and thank her so much, because it couldn't have happened. Like I said, I was working on this for 7 years, and every year I said, I'm going to get it out this year, I'm going to get it out this year. But so it finally happened, Jerry, and I can't be, more pleased with it.
That's right, man. Janet, and she had written a foreword for you as well. So
exactly.
So she's an important part of your team. That is wonderful, man. I'm so happy. I hope this book does well for you, man. Now, you have any events planned that's coming up? Anything planned?
Yeah, I'll be in New York. I live in South Jersey. I'll be in New York. We just got back from Virginia a couple of weeks ago. We did a show down there. I'll be in New York August the 22nd. There's an art show with Helene Ruiz, who is a tremendous, tremendous artist. Fine artists, and a few other artists will be doing their work, showing their work, as well as jazz. And I'm heading up the poetry venue because we're just kind of mixing up like the old days, a little jazz, a little art, and a little poetry, And it's called Controversially Speaking. So we get a chance to kind of show ourselves out a little bit. So we have Albert Carrasco, Robert Givens, June Barefield's coming in from Missouri, William Washington from New York, so we're going to have a really good time.
Good, good. Now, your company, I mean, you have 100 poets. You got Janet helping you run the show. Now, do you guys, do you do an event yourself, a book event, where you bring all your people together, or a retreat of some sort, like a writing workshop?
No, we haven't gotten that far. We haven't developed that far, That takes a little bit of money,
Yeah.
But, I do participate in them, and I do go out to do seminars and stuff of that nature when I'm called personally. I do that, but we haven't had the opportunity, to bring, our artists together in mass. We have had collections where, like, for example, in New York, most of the people that are going to be there are our artists. And we've done that several times. New York, in Virginia, they were our artists that were coming together, to support each other and share our work. We've done the same thing in Massachusetts, like New York, Chicago, California. So we're getting around when we can. When the opportunity arises and it's the right situation, we'll be there.
That's right. That's right. Now, you said you were going to treat us tonight with some of your work. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready to hear you.
Okay. This first piece, I won't say it's a signature piece, but it's a signature piece, so to speak. But it's a piece of self-reconciliation. Like I said, most of my work is about spiritual, social, and love consciousness. And this is a little bit on the spiritual side, and it's titled I Am He. Ready?
Okay. And I tell you what, Bill, when you read the poem, just tell us a little bit why you wrote it, and then you can start right into the next pieces. Okay, so you don't have to hear from me anymore. Okay.
Okay.
That work? All right. Great.
That works. Okay. I am he. There it stood like a tower of light, piercing the sky of the horizon, and joining imaginary heavens to this place upon which our feet are planted. Fable and folklore spoke of this place, a garden few have seen, from which the seed of man had been spawned. And within was that mythological tree which unveiled the eye of first father, that he should know of what nakedness is. David danced in the street, for he felt unabashed joy when kissed by the sound of timbrels, the music of his heart, that which is divine. Job bore the burden of reproof, for he knew of the sweeter fruits that has never been seen nor tasted. Solomon's etheric ecstasy, his glistening wisdom, knew not of limit, and he wed himself and consummated such a union in the inner chambers of self, which was his beloved. My brother Isaiah, he spoke of the gates of praise that shone, calling forth the children to embark on the path, to journey back to the garden, back home, where there is but light consciousness. He said, arise, arise, and my hallelujah stood and spread its wings, embracing never dreamed of possibilities. My inner eye beholds that tree yonder. Oh, how I long to put my arms around its girth and let the gentle breeze of brother wind whisper to me through its leaves. Let me hear again that sweet promise, that of the fruit we shall eat at journey's end. St. Isa was nailed to that tree. I but wish to climb its limbs and lay my burdens upon its bough and be its rockabye baby. I hear the call of the rushing waters, that of mother's lifeblood, where the four sacred rivers converge. Let us immerse ourselves in the cleansing waters. So I packed my bags with emptiness, devoid of all worldly things, for the world had lost its import. And there was an equestrian for the quest. Soul was beckoning me to that reckoning of me unto the path back to where myth meets reality, back to that garden. My heart began to ardently beat with forgotten rhythmic excitement, filled with an anticipatory syncopation of joys replete. The resonant harmonies of ecstasy loomed in the air about me, and thus became my every breath, and I became life's melody. The palpitations of my heart consumed me completely, penetrating the womb of my very existence, like a young virgin who looks upon the face of her eternal lover for the first time. Take me, my soul stream. It streams unto itself to open that door, open that gate, to that arduous pathway unto my absolution, that my final trips may begin. I turn my face away from my destination, and I begin to walk backwards, that I may revisit times past, old wounds, errant shifts, to arrive at the place of my spawning, the dawning, which is a regressive awakening. Forsaking substance, I see the collective episodes of the years endured as they begin to fall away, and the enveloping warp of the sun replete begins to rapture me as I allow the letting of this illusory identity of how I once defined myself. I now begin to intake and absorb the verdant sense of my holy inner garden, which is enticing me as I am reverently approaching my own presence, my essence, my consummate self. I am barefooted, and my toes become entwined in the damp soils of what I thought to be a forgotten consciousness, a lost knowing, and I begin to glow. I hear the sounds about me, within me, attuning itself in concordance, dancing in my heart, playing a tune called bliss, and I know I have been kissed by the regality of that which is sovereign over all that exists. My loins become incensed with a primal urging, a needing to undress and to express, and my innocent nakedness stands before the world. My passions, they begin to unfurl and to fill themselves with an incalculable esoteric copulation, and my reason becomes orgasmic as it loses its tethers to the finite memories of what I once and defended as life. I am reflecting my own creational exponentialness. My tears begin to flow down my cheeks from my third eye, blinding me with rivulets of joy, which become streams, which become rivers before they even touch my feet, which now stands in the ocean of life. Time freezes, time ceases, and I am appeased, for I now please myself. For in reflective grandeur, I realize I am who I have always been. Upon the surface of these pristine waters, I look upon my continent. The glass is no longer darkly, and I thus see a contextual reflection of me, of self, of God, of creation. And there is but a solitary tower of light, which enjoins heaven to earth, and I and he, and peace. This next piece I want to read, actually I said earlier in the interview that in 2006 I lost my wife to cancer. And this piece actually is a vicarious writing, on that, and I have 8 daughters and 3 sons, so this piece I used the embodiment of my son is titled Every Saturday. My son and I awakened that Saturday morning. The sun was bright. It was a lovely spring day. We brushed our teeth, washed our face as we prepared for our weekly visit to the market. Needless to say, he was so excited. We both were. We dressed in a sort of reverent appreciation for life. A warm silence permeated the air, and we could hear our own hearts beating with anticipation. We exited the house that morning about 10 o'clock. The birds were singing while digging in the lush green lawn, looking for brunch, I guess, just as they did every Saturday morning when we went about this quest to the market. Yes, my son and I were on a mission. We had things to do, brown bags to fill with edible discoveries of the day. We jumped in the car. I turned the key, which cranked the engine, and my son, he asked me if he could drive. I smiled as I did every other Saturday, and I replied, "One day soon, son." He looked at me with a twinkle in his eye, and he said, "Okay, Daddy, cool." I chuckled as we buckled our seatbelts. We pulled out of the driveway. Many of our neighbors were busy, mowing their lawns, tending their flower gardens, and all sorts of Saturday morning things. And this Saturday morning, just like every Saturday morning, he, my son, waved and said hello to them all and told everyone we are on our way to the mall. I softly looked at him in love, and I accepted his perspective in silence, as I do every Saturday. We arrived at the market, and he actually bounced in the car in his seat while I parked it. When we came to a stop, he hurriedly unbuckled his belt, and I chuckled, for I felt his glee all in me. He ran to the market ahead of me. You see, he had a routine, which was a part of his joy, his life, his need. And before I could plead with him to slow down, he was through the doors and into the stores by his heart's wishes. And as I approached, he came back out again with a smile that had no end. And he exclaimed, "I know what I'm going to buy, Mommy." I smiled warmly. And before I could evoke the question, what? He spoke such things in the bakery like pastry with nuts and such. But today, he wanted to get cheesecake. Yes, cheesecake. Just as he does every Saturday. We both knew that that was her favorite. If she was here with us, she would savor it. And her favorite, of course, was strawberry. We went into the market to the bakery, as we did every Saturday, and John the baker came to the counter and said cheerily, with deliberate flattery, "How can I help you, young man?" And my son beamed in bright wonder, for John had acknowledged him as a growing equal, a man soon to be, one who could make valid decisions for himself and his mother. He placed his order, and John lovingly wrapped it with a certain and knowing care. He put a special bow of string on it, as he did every Saturday morning. My son surveyed the package, took his order gingerly, and held it in the crisp of his arms. He did not want his gift damaged. It was heartfully special to him. We completed our errands in the market, and we went to the car where we parked it. We got on our seats, our mission complete. We buckled our seat belts as we drove home. There was a hanging silence in the car at this time, as we both knew what was to come. We pulled in the driveway, exited the car, and entered the home with a prevalent awareness of each and every laborious footstep. We entered the kitchen. My son unwrapped the cheesecake and placed it on a plate, his mother's favorite plate, that which he loved, and as long as we can remember. We sat at the table and we bowed our heads and offered a prayer to Mommy. For Mommy was not there. She was in the world of spirit, and the prayer we prayed was that she could hear it. We prayed that cancer would never take another Mommy from a child. And though Mommy has been gone from us for a while, we still felt her presence. The tears flowed from within us and began to drip on the table, and in the knowing silence that Mommy was not dead, we each grabbed a napkin and wiped our eyes, as we did each and every Saturday. We realized just how much she still means to us. We gave thanks. And my son, the coming man, did understand something quite profound that grounded him, and that was that through it all, we must continue to answer the call every Saturday, every day, for Mommy, for God, for us. For love prevails every day, every Saturday. And peace. This one here is a social conscious commentary on, and it still applies to this day because we have wars all over our planet. There's the atrocity going over there in Gaza right now, and various other places that aren't receiving mention because it's not important to the news media. But this is a commentary on behalf of those who must endure, and it's titled, "My Sun is Orange." My morning sun is orange. The yellow is stained with the blood of my people, for that is what we are reminded of each day. When it rises from the east to greet the world, I see my world clearly. We once lived with a hope that the atrocities of hate, war, and indifference would go away, but it did not. My hope has been misplaced somewhere, and I cannot remember where I have set it down. It might have been that day I lost my arm, or that day when my father was jailed, or that day when my sister was killed. She was only 3. No, I think I lost my hope the day my mother no longer cried. Her eyes have been dry for many a year now, and somehow, by some grace, she still has enough love in her to hug me once in a while through that pained smile that still adorns her face, just so she won't completely break. There is a noise I hear. It is a loud silence that stays with me through my callousness. For the gunfire and the bombs and the screams, I cannot hear them. They have long ago assaulted and killed the dreams of my family, my village, my people, and it is now working on humanity. Where is the sanity in this methodology to be found? You see, Every day is ground zero where I live. Everywhere I look, I see ground zeros, and we have lost count of those who are no more because of what you call war. But you and I, we never had a dispute that I know of. If so, please tell me what I did wrong to cause you harm, that you should exact such a wretchedness upon me and others like me. You see, I know not of the policies of it all. I have never even met a politician. Are they so different than we the people? If it's oil, I'll give it to you. If it's right, take it freely. I will not raise nor put my hand against that of my father's children. There was a time when all I thought of was simply finding joy in my life. I have since given up on that quest, for I see far too much of that other stuff which deserves no name. You see, my sun is no longer yellow, but I do pray, my brother, that yours is, for my sun is orange. I said peace. And I'll go as long as you want me to. I guess,
I mean,
I can do poetry. Huh?
Yeah, you go ahead, man. You can do another piece, and then we'll close the show out.
Okay.
Beautiful,
I'm going to do this piece. I'll tell you a little story about it. A few years back, we were doing one of our shows on the Artist Lounge with Jill Delbridge, and the guest that night was a gentleman by the name of Monty Smith, who is the initiator of the Red Bull Tour, which we know so famously that goes all around, whatever. But anyway, Monty is what we call a street poet, very controversial, activist, and so much more. And he challenged the people that were on the show, which were primarily poets. He asked them, what do you want your poetry to do? And he threw the gauntlet down, and he said, you need to kind of figure out what you want your poetry to do. What is the purpose of you writing your poetry? So with that developed into a thread on Facebook, and which developed into a book, and now we're on our third offering of this book, I Want My Poetry To. And we asked, and we've had participants from all over the world, in 1 and 2, and like I said, we're collecting for number 3 now. And we asked the poets to, examine, start the poem off with I Want My Poetry To, and then go on to tell the world, and yourself primarily, what it is you want your poetry to do. So this is my offering in the first book, I Want My Poetry To Do. It was titled, I Want My Poetry To, a Rebel Chant, Rebel Poetry Chant. So here we go. I want my poetry to touch your soul. I want my poetry to fill that hole in your heart. I want my poetry to move you to action, just like Mr. Jackson. I want my poetry to make you stand up and be counted. Yes. I want my poetry to make you rip the flesh of your delusions from your false realities, bias, and prejudice, that you may perhaps get a glimpse of your higher self. I want my poetry to be that key that unlocks the change of your enslaved thoughts. I do hope that you can read, hear, and listen. I want my poetry to make your soul scream so loud that it expands and explodes, and the noise of its voice pollutes the world with truth. I want my poetry to hold the hands of your dreams upon its breast, and for you to feel the heartbeat of joys not yet spoken that is labeled with your name. I want my poetry to kiss your aspirations with smiles and happy butterflies, that I may watch you simply dance because you can. I want my poetry to open the floodgates of your reason, that your limited perspectives of difference and deference down in the cascade of waters of unity. I want my poetry to till the soils of your spiritual garden with possibilities and plant ever-abundant new seeds of exponentialness, so that all previous preconceived boundaries and limitedness will dissipate into the eternal ether of nothingness, and you learn to laugh at yourself again. I want my poetry to compel you, assist you in the removal of your mask, to compel you to rip off your clothes, to compel you to dance in the streets naked just like David, that you can see you who you truly are, and be affirmed that you are fine and you are divine. I want my poetry to teach you and me the divine art form and purpose of spiritual masturbation, that we may learn to no longer condemn the holy, which resides within each of us, and that we learn to forgive ourselves. I want my poetry to eradicate our reluctance to love each other, to lose the inhibitions we have been taught, indoctrinated to embrace as the right way, and learn a new way this day of how to love. I want my poetry to be loving, kind, to be enduring, accepting, non-judgmental, uplifting, enlightening, embracing, empowering. I want my poetry to reflect the beauty of creation. I want my poetry to reflect the best of who I may be. I want my poetry to be poetry and help you become a poem. And peace.
That was so powerful. William S. Peters Sr., a.k.a. Just Bill, how much for the audio? For the download on iTunes. Where is it? Is it out there? Should be sold.
Oh, yeah, I have a free Thinker CD. That's the only thing. I'm working on quite a few other projects, Jerry, because last year I did Notes from the Coffee Table, which is about relationship. And the year before that I did The Vine Keeper. And actually that particular poem was in The Vine Keeper as well. The Vine Keeper's 440-page book. So I just write a lot, Jerry. That's all I can say. I do witticism. I did Confucius Says, think on these things, which are witticisms and insights. Little short read pocket carriers, that type of thing.
Beautiful.
So, I just do a lot of writing.
Well, you have the voice for it too. It was just so tranquil, man. Instead of people spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on their psychiatrist and their life coach, they could just pop that baby right in. And just listen to you for about an hour, and they'll be all right, man. It's like listening to a good preacher, man. It speaks to your spirit. That's what
I'm
need,
trying to do, man. And reaching my own and finding that I have a lot in common with most people. Yeah,
beautiful. Because I don't really read poetry well. Like for example, if I had your book and I had to read that, it wouldn't speak to me that way. Because everybody the way of their style. But if you were standing up on the stage reading it, I'm like, oh my God, that's phenomenal. Now I got to have that book, or the audio version of it. I just think that like you said earlier, the poetry scene has burst out there. It's all over the place, underground. People, going to it. You don't see a lot of the audio versions of it out there for sale. Just the books. And I'm just wondering, in your opinion, do you think the audio versions, MP3 files, DVDs, whatever, would be more effective, or make some money?
Well, okay, the audio versions are out there in the sense that people are doing it in the form of CDs, not audio books, but CDs. Meaning that they'll have like maybe 12, 15, 20 pieces on a CD. I'm working on a couple of audio books, as a matter of fact. One I'm about halfway through, and hopefully I'll get it done by the end of this year, and that's Notes from the Coffee Table, and it's about relationship, and it's poetry written, considering, like, say, for example, it's a relationship when things change. So if you broke up with somebody, the kind of emotions that we go through, and, that particular type of thing day to day, written in a poetic form.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see that being phenomenal. Have you did you see the video DVD, the Blu-ray version that Adele the singer had just released last year? No, I haven't. It was kind of different. She would talk about where she was at the time she wrote that song, and then she would sing it. And then she would talk to her, it was funny pieces too. She would, laugh and tell you the story about it. Then she would sing. It was so relaxing, man. I just loved that. I was just wondering,
I tell you what I love. I've always been an admirer of is Iyanla Van Zandt. That piece she did about 8-9 years ago or so.
I heard about that.
Where it was like some singing and her talking in between. That was her launching board. But I would love to do some masterful work such as that. And I got to check out Adele. Where it's different. It's different. CDs are, I'm not going to say they're easy to do, but a lot of people are doing CDs. But I like to go a different path. I like to cut my own path to do one.
That's right, because the iTunes is so big right now. People, downloading everything to their devices. I can just imagine being at work. I just had a stressful day, and I need to take a break at lunch and meditate, and just listen to a couple of your pieces. I bet you, man, you be so refreshed, man. Oh, I feel so good, man. I feel like I had a massage. Yeah, thank you. Well, I tell you,
when I get done, I have your email address. I'll email you my album.
Yes, please. please do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
Yeah, man, I would love to have that, man, because, you know, we have some pretty challenging jobs out there where we have, you know, more work than we have people. You know, they're not going to say no to the work, but they're not going to hire no more people. So people need help at lunchtime.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Or the end of the day, just to de-stress, you know. So that was a wonderful read, man. I really appreciate you doing that, coming on our show.
Oh, man, it was a blessing.
Yeah, we're going to introduce you to our audience, man. I hope they adore you and support your company. And you do what you continue to do what you're doing, man. And you definitely got to come back, man. When you release your next book. All right, cool.
I
thank
would
you,
love it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to
let you know, I appreciate this opportunity. Big shout outs to Janet. You know, she keeps me in line. But I just really want to thank you on behalf of not only myself, but more importantly, Inner Child Press, and also the community. You know, the work that you do is important, you know, giving people a voice and opportunity to be heard. And I know what that's about because we do the same thing, you know, on the radio. And I tell you, there's a lot of people who have a lot of good stuff to share. And I appreciate you. I just want to let you know that. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I mean, it's been blowing me away, man. I always wondered, you know, I'm not going to tell the young ladies my age because, you know, I want to feel like a rock star, but anyway, you know, you go through life and you wonder what your purpose is, you know, what, you know, your skill, how can you use your personality, your warmth, your spirit to help people, you know, when you sit behind a cubicle, you know, you're always wondering, you know, what's your purpose, you know.
Right.
And here I am. And I want to tell you, man, we love to support the rest of your organization. So anytime you have, you know, we're opening up September soon. We have Brandon get in contact with you. If you have any authors that's ready, you know, they'd like to come out here and do what you did, showcase their abilities. We would love to have them. Okay.
Okay, I'll be in touch because we have a ton. We have to. I tell you, we've been blessed because I think that me having a publishing company, or we having a publishing company, and Janet and I are both writers, that we have a different perspective. It's not just business for us. Business is secondary to the art. You know, because I know that me as a writer, I always wanted to be heard, understood, and I thought I had something to say. And I think most writers, whether they admit it or not, are that way, specifically poets. You know, so with that being said, you know, we hear you, and that's our objective is to help you get out there to be heard. You know,
that's right.
Be read.
Amen.
You know?
That's powerful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is William S. Peters Sr., a.k.a. Just Bill. He's family now to the Positive Power 21, jerry-royce-live. We appreciate you, man, and we're gonna get this thing together, man. All right. And hopefully we'll meet you, man. I'm up around New York all the time because my grandmother lives in Harlem. Yeah, they live up in Harlem, but it's not like I go visit them. It's more so my daughter likes to visit New York. But you're
in Maryland. You said you're in Maryland?
Yes.
Are you near Baltimore?
Right, 20 minutes outside Baltimore.
Okay, because my sister just moved down to West Baltimore. I think it's West or East West Baltimore, you know, a couple months ago. So I'll be down there periodically.
Yeah, you have to shoot me an email next time you come see it, man. I'll meet you over there. All right, because that's where I'm from, Northwest Baltimore, so that's nowhere, man. All right.
And another thing is I want to mention this one thing. Inner Child, we're very involved with the youth. And as a matter of fact, Baltimore is one of those cities we've been negotiating with for the last month, where we're going to be coming out utilizing poetry and publishing to empower the youth at risk, because they have a youth at risk program to help them from becoming the criminals, so to speak, or the victims. You know, so we want to talk to these young people because we have a couple of partners that are doing it in New York. We have done it before. We've done it at high schools. And so we've been negotiating with the city of Baltimore, and we're also going to move into Washington, D.C., where we can use Inner Child can use a venue to empower these youth of ours. You know, hopefully, put them out of harm's way.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I mentored at a high school, and I remember a young man told me they had a spoken word group over there, and I told him, I promised him I was going to come out there and tape those guys and showcase them on our website.
Then we need to talk.
Yeah.
We need to talk because I'm more sure that, and see, one of the resources we have is publishing, and we do scholarships. So an opportunity to empower these kids by them seeing their name in print, I'm all for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can make that happen. Cause matter of fact, the vice principal, he is one of the coaches at my son's youth football league, and he just told me they have a new principal, but the guys all on board to keep everything in place. Because we actually have a initiative in place to help support the My Brother's Keeper initiative with President Obama. So we've been doing events for these young boys, all-male summits, career day, have mentoring program with the Second Chance kids. I mentor to the football players and the track guys. I bring over federal guys to talk to them about, why it's so important to do your schoolwork and move forward. So, I'm definitely, I'm in the high school. I love it.
Right.
It.
And one of the challenges one of the challenges we see that we're concerned with, especially being writers, is the level of literacy. As you know, our inner city schools have been pushing our kids through school with low achievement levels. And we want to change that. If the school's not going to change it, then we have to take responsibility and change that.
Right.
That's one of our focuses.
That's right.
Get these kids reading. But we can talk. I can talk all day about that.
Absolutely. Same here, man. I love it. All right, Bill. So we're going to close it out, man. But that was a good thing. That was a positive power, man. So, hey, we got to talk about it, man. All right?
Yes, indeed. Okay, Jerry.
All right,
Thank you, man.
All right, my brother.
Blessings, family.
All right.
Okay.
All right. This is Jerry Royce Live, Positive Power, 21.org. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And stay tuned for more. Thank you for tuning in to the Positive Power 21 Network. Team 21 would like to thank you all for tuning in, and please spread the word and tell a friend. This is Jerry Royce at Positive Power 21, where we get our positive on.
Positive Power 21.org, Internet Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and don't forget about Positive Power at Spreaker.com/Positive Power so you get every episode sent to your inbox. Peace.